Celebrating Christmas is so important because Christmas is comforting for so many different life situations. The one that Psalm 12 makes me think of is the time in life when you feel alone in your faith. The beginning of Psalm 12 asks God for help. It says, help because the godly are no more. The faithful, they just don't exist. They've all vanished from the face of the earth. And so the writer of Psalm 12, he feels alone in his faith. And that's something that can happen to us too. It might be because there's nobody around you sharing encouragement with you. It might be because people are sharing encouragement with you or trying to share encouragement with you, and it's just not connecting. Christians can even get to a stage of life where things that used to be really comforting about God's word, when you hear them again, they just don't stick in the same way that they did. And so you're feeling alone in your faith. Like there's no comfort out there that's settling your heart, or there's no one out there who's equipped to share the comfort with you, or who is even trying to share the comfort with you. And one of the ways that Christmas addresses that is through the lead up to Christmas. And by the lead up to the first Christmas, I mean the couple hundred years before Jesus was born. In the Old Testament, we find so often God is either talking to people himself, or he's sending a prophet to speak on behalf of God and doing some pretty tremendous things. And so God's people were pretty used to somebody speaking a very powerful word from God, something that was going to connect with their hearts. It was going to convict them, or it was going to encourage them, but it was going to be from God. And they knew that. They didn't feel alone in their faith at all because someone was there. But then about 400 years before Jesus is born in Bethlehem, suddenly God went silent. And if you were looking for a prophet, there were none to be found. And so the voice of God, it was just a little more quiet in the world than it had been. Maybe people were asking, well, where is God now? Why is it so hard to hear his word? And if your heart is heavy and in need of comfort, you begin to miss that. But then after 400 years, God sent help to anybody at that time who would have been feeling alone in their faith. He sent a little baby in a manger, and a baby in a manger who was come to help who? People who sometimes have a hard time holding on to God's word. People who sometimes don't do a good job of believing it or finding comfort in it. People who sometimes doubt and worry. Those are the kind of people who were in the world at the time when Jesus came. They're the kind of people in the world today sometimes. And they are the kind of people that we sometimes see when we look in the mirror. People who feel alone in their faith. But Christmas is beautiful for that reason. Because it reminds us that you never really are. Even if you don't feel it, even if you're not perceiving it, God came to be born into the world so that you would never have to be alone again. And that's the truth of Christmas, that you are never alone. Not when it comes to God. The God who loves you, who sees you, who knows you, who forgave you, he's always with you, to the very end. Rest well tonight, my friends.